everybody. Welcome today as we have a one-on-one, intimate, candid candidate conversation. I'm going to be your host, Jada G, and it is such a pleasure and an honor to be here with our distinguished, say it like that, distinguished guest for tonight, village candidate, Mr. Jeffery Daniels.
Thank you.
I wish we had some applause because it would just sound like it would go nice there, right? You see that? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
And before I start, I say congratulations to you because, you know, actually we sought you out. You've got a great following going on. We like what you were doing, and rightfully so. So congrats to you.
Thank you.
And hopefully this blows you up even more.
Listen, flattery gets you everywhere, okay? You just got in. Boozy Bays, he just tried to get in. So I just wanted to make sure that we were having a conversation that was candid, that the people could relate, because so often in politics, we never get to meet the politician until it's campaign time. And unfortunately, before then, we don't really get to know them. So I thought that this was such an ingenious idea to have a one-on-one with our local politicians, because, you know, this election these days, you know,
very important.
Very important.
This is probably one of the most important elections. They're all important. One of the most important elections going forward for a very, very long time, because Hempstead has been stagnant and stayed the same for the last 30 plus years, and it's time to move forward. So the time is now. It's Hempstead now. It's our time to shine.
I like you. You're jumping right out the gate because you said that word, stagnant.
It's easy because I'm so passionate about what we're talking about here.
And I think once you're passionate about what you're doing, it just flows because you're doing what you love, you're doing what you want to do, and you're serving the community. And I'm here for it. So before we get started, I like to just get straight to the meat and potatoes. Some people like appetizers. I'm an entree girl myself, you know.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna hit you right with the serious questions. Okay.
Jump right in.
Mr. Daniels, Mets or Yankees?
Ha! You know, I unlike most people, I like both because I'm a New York fan.
Okay. Oh, so you're just a New Yorker.
You know, because people in the city, they like the Yankees. They say Long Islanders, and like Connecticut people are supposed to watch the Mets.
Queens
people
like
supposed
the
to like the
Mets.
Mets. You know, I'm a New York fan. Now, when they playing each other,
who you going for?
Real talk, it depends on who's on that team that year. Like when Willie Randolph was the manager of the Mets, I was going for Willie because I like Willie, even though he was a Yankee. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you got to pick one, we got to go deeper. You got to peel back to the layer of the onion a little bit and see who's on the squad. You know, I'm a people person.
But overall, you still rocking the Yankee fitted, I'm assuming.
I'm rocking the Yankee fitted just 'cause that's the way you rock.
I get that. Football or basketball?
Oh, shoot, both.
So you're just a sports guy.
I'm a sports guy. I definitely am a sports guy. You know, I like the hoops probably more. It's more, you get more games, you get more personalities. It's a little different watching basketball because there's no helmets, right? You get to know the people. You see them on the bench. You know, a guy in a helmet, you really can't necessarily relate to him. You can't see his face. But football has its place in America, right? I mean, that's the Sunday thing.
I mean, they say it's the American pastime, that in baseball, but I beg to differ.
And now you got fantasy this, fantasy that. You know, you make a game within the game, so it's all good.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell the people, not me. Tell the people about you, because no one can represent you quite like you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, a lot of people probably already know me. My name is Jeff Daniels. I grew up in Hempstead all my life. Was there from right off of Franklin, right off South Franklin.
Okay.
I went to, my education actually started at a place called Dorothy K. Robinson.
Oh, I'm very familiar with Dorothy K. Robinson.
A lot of people don't know that, well, because right now it's just a big bare lot, empty lot, but it used to sit right on Franklin, right next to the Nancy's across the street from the cookie factory. It used to be a cookie factory across the street from it, but that was for nursery school, and from there I went to Marshall, and that's when Marshall was first grade to sixth grade. From there I went on to the middle school. Now that's the middle school days back when it was the pod system. When
yes,
green
I was
pod,
down with the pod.
red pod, right? So
If you were smart, you was in pod 6.
Well, I'm not going to say I was smart, but there are certain people that, you know, when my class was there and my man Vic Love was in we actually floated. We went from different pod to different pod.
DJ Vic?
DJ Vic Lover. We was in 714 and 813, right?
Oh.
Represent. That's where we was. That was the name of our class.
Y'all was in smart pod.
That was we weren't in the pod. We floated. We went to the best of the best throughout the whole system.
Let me ask you a question. So, being that you grew up in Hempstead at a time, I don't want to say, let me choose my words, vintage Hempstead. Hempstead, when Hempstead had so many different businesses. What do you think is the biggest difference between the Hempstead that you knew and the Hempstead that is now?
Gosh, Hempstead today is nowhere close to being the Hempstead of old. When you just look at economic development as one thing. Back in the day, we had A&S, right? Abraham and Strauss. We had TSS, which is the modern day kind of Walmart of the world, right?
We had Robbins.
We had Robbins. We had Cookies.
Cookies was in Hempstead?
Cookies. We had Corvettes. We had our own Woolworth, right? So, you know, people from all around. My mom grew up in Suffolk County. When she needed to buy a dress or buy shoes, everyone came into Hempstead, right? So Hempstead had a totally different vibe, all in its downtown. And our neighborhoods were our neighborhoods. You know, we were, you know, there was always scuffles. There was Heights versus the Hills. You know, there was Woodsiders. Everybody had their own little cliques, but it wasn't anywhere close to what it is today. From that point forward, when I grew up, I mean, homecoming used to be a thing.
Oh man,
suede fronts and fat laces and, you know, shell top Adidas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those days, the band used to rock, right? When you come homecoming and you going down Greenwich,
you heard it from wherever you were.
Far and wide.
Well, first off, don't forget the parade used to come down Fulton Street. It used to come down. Now you know we're on Front Street. They don't put us to the back.
That's right.
I can clearly remember coming down and standing at the end of where it used to be AT&T or Bell, the phone company, and watching the parade. That was like the highlight. I couldn't wait to be in the parade.
Straight down there, then straight down President, right to the high school, right? It was an all-day affair. It was a lot of Tiger pride.
Absolutely.
A ton of Tiger pride. We were state champions and this and that. And, you know, some stats people don't even realize is that our main sport, we were great football, great basketball, lacrosse, we used to kill it. We used to kill it in lacrosse. We probably sent more guys to college from lacrosse than any other sport.
Wow.
You know, so there's a lot of pride in Hempstead. Today it looks a lot different. There's a lot more despair, a lot more blight. We've kind of went stagnant. We moved backwards. When I grew up, the park system it flourished.
Yes.
You know, I used to dream of the day that I could play on the first court in Lincoln Park, right? So when you come in Lincoln Park, you go on the court, you go in there, that first court, that's where you was balling. That was where the players was playing.
And everybody else played in the back.
Yeah, if you're a young buck, you got to go diagonal, you go back, and then when they redid the courts, they did the set of courts behind the set of courts, right? Where you had the little court. We would play ball even then, all the way into the nights until, you know, Art would come along into the park and turn off the lights at Lincoln Park. But we would have people come from far and wide to come play at Lincoln Park. We'd have softball games going on. We had softball leagues. We had Salvation Army, which the Salvation Army team was more the Hempstead team.
Yes.
And they would put people on the team, you know, our ex-athletes that from high school would be on that team, and everybody would come watch those games. That was the Hempstead. That was Hempstead. That was, if you want to call it vintage Hempstead, I actually like that. That was vintage Hempstead. That was fun Hempstead. That was prospering Hempstead. And that's not the Hempstead that we have today, and that's what we're trying to bring back.
Let me tell you something. When I say the word vintage, I mean that with all due respect, because let me tell you something. If I go to a store and I get a vintage Gucci bag, I'm balling. You understand? So when I say vintage, I don't say it to be disparagingly or say of old, but there's quite a difference from someone who's had a childhood. I think a lot of our residents now, especially the younger population, they don't remember a time when Hempstead was the hub of Long Island. Now it's almost like kind of like an eyesore. So when I get to talk to someone who has so much pride in Hempstead and who has seen where Hempstead was, where it is now, and hopefully has a vision as to where they want it to go, I get excited.
Damn, man, that was good. I like that. That was good. I'm feeling that right there. I like that.
It's the truth.
That is the truth. That is the truth. That's the basis for everything.
I bleed blue.
I agree with you. That's the basis. That's why I'm still here. You know, after my time in Hempstead, obviously I went off to school, went to corporate America, learned a bunch of tricks of the trade, did very, very well. I'm battle tested, so to speak. You know, I worked at AIG during the credit crisis, renegotiated billions of dollars of debt of properties across the country. But at the end of the day, my heart is here. My heart is here in Hempstead, and it's the time that after learning all that I've learned is to come back into the village and let the village flourish off of the experiences of their son. And that's the key, is to come back in. I could go just as easy. I can go get on the train every day, come back to home, put my head in the sand and not pay attention to what's going on around us. That cannot happen. Those days are over. We've got to unite. We've got to move forward. We have been stagnant for 30 plus years. 30 plus years. We cannot do that anymore. Its time is now, Hempstead now. That's our party line. When you go into the booth, when you close it out, that is our party line. Hempstead now. Row
Hempstead
B.
now.
Row B. Hempstead now. Make a change, make a difference.
So I'm glad that we're here now. Let's get to it. So for all of you who don't know, March 20th, Tuesday, March 20th, 2018, the election for village trustee, the seat will be open, and that's what you're running for. Can you tell the people, because I have the feeling from a lot of my audience, a lot of people are very wary of politics. I get a lot of, they don't know, they just don't know what they should know.
Right.
They feel that their voices are not being heard. Can you give us some, what am I want to say? Can you give us some qualities or attributes that a trustee should have and what they should be doing to inform the people?
One of the biggest qualities that really needs to be had, particularly given where we are now as a village and what we have facing us, you need some vision. You need to have vision. You need to be courageous, right? Because you've got to move through some real slush. You got to jump some real hurdles because the hurdles are real. The stakes are high right now. We've been rolling debt in the village for years, refinancing debt time in and time out. Turn on the TV, turn on CNBC, open up the Wall Street Journal. Interest rates are going up. So if we're rolling that debt constantly, $46 million of debt. $46 million of debt. Now, Hempstead only collects, they collect $85 million in taxes roughly, another $15 million in fees, so a $100 million enterprise. That's what they're operating here, a $100 million enterprise with $46 million in debt. And that the interest rate on that debt is about to go up. How are they going to pay for the higher interest rate on that debt? And it's going to be out of the homeowners' pockets. And we have to stop it. So the stakes are high right now. If you go back the last 8 to 10 years, coming out of the Great Recession, right? Coming out of 08 and 09, when everything went to heck in the handbasket, right? We are living through one of the largest economic expansions of our lifetime. Has you seen anything change in this village? No. All around us, things are changing. The economy is growing. In the village, we're sitting the same way we've been for the last 30 plus years. How can we sit stagnant? You take a bucket of water or put some rainwater and put it out in the street and let it sit there for 30 years. Stagnation gets stale and it stinks.
It does.
We've got to move forward.
Like mop water.
Like mop water. By the way, this is live, right? So
yes.
If they're at the door, let them in. 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 It's all right. Let them in. So I'm going
to ask you a question, and I don't want you to be offended, and I don't think you offend easily.
No, I'm thick-skinned.
Great. So you said a key word that I honed in on. You said now. Your party is Hempstead Party Now.
That's
you
right.
said 30 years we've been stagnant, and you are a resident of this village. Why now? Why you? Why now?
Why me is, now for me is the fact that, like I said, we've got $46 million of debt. We have very, very small economic base that we now need to move forward, that we need to grow. We can no longer continue to tax senior citizens, people that have been in this village for 30 plus years, that are paying $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 on a house that is no longer worth the same as it was worth 20 years ago.
Wow.
So in essence, if you've got a 30-year mortgage, by the time you pay your taxes, you could pay for your house 2 times over in what you pay for taxes. That's a travesty. Now you have senior citizens that have been living in this village for years, that are on fixed income, paying $15,000, $16,000 in real estate taxes.
That they should not be paying.
And at the end of the day, we've got a pool. We got one pool for over 55,000 people. Mm-hmm. How we got one pool?
I hate to say it, and this is on live, I don't really go to Kennedy Park Pool. When I want to go with my children somewhere, I go to Echo Pool. And it pains me that I have to go out of my town to go and get services or to get luxuries, amenities that should be afforded right where we are. But I also want to hone in on, you talked about the senior citizens. What about the people, what about our youth? Because it's a known fact that one of the things that I love, and that's why I like talking with you, Hempstead produces great people. We have a plethora of resumes of people who are doctors, lawyers, judges, celebrity stylists. We have it all, and the sad part is we're always in the news for the negative. We never for the positive light. But I say that to say, how are we going to draw back those people, those young intellects? And those problems that you're mentioning about high taxes, if I'm a young person, I don't want to come and raise a family somewhere where the taxes are high, the school district isn't good, and I don't know if my house is going to be worth what I bought it for. So how are we going to draw those people in?
Well, we've got to provide opportunities. It needs to be diversity, it needs to be opportunities. Again, that comes from strengthening the economic base of here in the village so that we can do new things, provide new opportunities, and let the village flourish once again. A lot of times, part of the youth will be young. That's it, right? The youth are young, right? Youth will be youth. And some people say, youth is wasted on the young, right? But there's opportunities for these kids. But we're not showing them. We're not creating a structure, an environment for them to flourish. Look at what we're showing them. Look at our Main Street. If you go down Main Street, you might as well drive an ATV, right? Because you get a four-wheeler. Because it's nothing but bumps, it's nothing but potholes, right? Yep. That's what they see. They see the blight, they see dilapidated. We're going to try to tell them that we love them, we care for them, we want them to move forward, but we're not providing anything for them, right?
Yeah.
We have to change that. We have to move forward. Just do something. Push us forward. Stop the gridlock. What are you arguing about? What are you fighting, right? You want things to stay the same. Mm-hmm. Folks want things to stay the same. They don't want to move forward. You can't be scared of moving forward. Hempstead first, Hempstead forward, Hempstead now.
Love it. The current mayor is Republican, and you're a Democrat. If elected, will you be able to put aside political parties and for the better improvement of Hempstead? Because we see that on a national level. Dems and Republicans cannot agree on anything, whether it's in the House, whether it's in wherever, and it causes an issue in the country. So now we're trickling down to small towns. Right. So will that cause an issue?
Listen, we're for Hempstead, right? I'm for Hempstead. I'm here to move Hempstead forward, right? Mm-hmm. Where we would become against one another is if we're not moving Hempstead forward. Okay. Right? And that's not a Republican or a Democratic thing. That's us working together to move Hempstead forward, right? That's all that this is about, moving the village forward into an era that we have not seen in 30 plus years, right? So it's not a Democratic thing, it's not a Republic thing, it's a Hempstead thing.
Right. So let me ask you another question. So we have a lot of our viewing audience who, one of the things that I call my boos and bays. Say hi to
you have to define that for me another time.
I will. I totally will. And if you don't like that, you fall under the everybody. So my slogan is hi on my boos and bays and everybody. So you're in the everybody category. That's fine.
All right.
But one of the things when we were going forth with this and I was letting my audience know what we're going to be doing, Jada G. Oh, politicians, they say anything. How you know he ain't trying to line his pockets? They just want our votes so they could get the money. So I would like for you to put the people at ease and tell them what about your campaign? About your campaign.
The campaign is for Hempstead. There's no lining your pockets. I don't have any political aspirations. I don't want to be mayor.
Hold on.
I don't want to.
You don't have political aspirations and you running for trustee?
I have Hempstead aspirations.
Love it.
I'm moving for Hempstead. To me, this is civic work. Okay, this is not a political job. This is civic work. I'm giving back.
Wow.
I feel like I have a talent and there's a need. I'm bringing the talent to the need. I want to move it forward. I'm not interested in giving anybody a job or moving for a job.
So you can't give me a job?
I want you to compete.
Can you get some tickets?
No, I want you to arm you to compete. If you want to watch the Knicks, I can do something for you.
Can you get my parking tickets?
If you're going to go to the Knicks.
You can't even do that?
We're not dealing with no parking ticket issues.
Man, all right. So don't ask for the hookup. He cannot do parking tickets. Let me just let y'all know that in advance.
I won't do parking tickets, things like that. It's not that I can't do parking tickets either. I won't do parking tickets because part of that, I'm going to veer off a little bit, but that's part of the issue, is enforcement. Enforcement is part of the issue. Like we have code enforcement. We have enforcement, right? And we have rules on the book. If you ever pulled open or printed it online, the village code book, I mean, it's like this.
Yes.
Right?
Most of them tend to be.
You can just open your eyes and look down the block and count the violations. If we want to be a suburb, Nassau County suburb, green leafy suburb, we're going to have to enforce the rules that are currently on the books.
Such as?
What would it be? It's planning, parking, overcrowding, whatever it may be. We already have rules on the books for that, and we need to enforce them. It is extremely, extremely dangerous to have a home split up into many, many rooms. God forbid there's a fire. If you've been in this space and you're a fireman, there's probably, realistically, 85 to 90% of the housing stock in Hempstead is either a colonial, a Dutch colonial. It's either it's a ranch, a split-level ranch, a high ranch. So you know the layout of those homes. And if you're a fireman in thick smoke, you know if you make a right here, okay, you're going to get out.
Right.
But if you turn right and there's a wall there, because now somebody else is living there and a room has been made there, that is very dangerous stuff. And we're putting our first responders at risk when you do that.
So what will your first 90 days look like if elected?
Very busy. It will be extremely busy.
You sure you're not a politician? That was a politician
No.
answer.
That's not a politician answer, because I'm going to tell you why. It was different than, if it was a political answer, I wouldn't tell you what I'm about to tell you. Because I'm going to tell you what I would have to do in those first 90 days.
Okay.
All right, I think everything has to be looked at. There needs to be a deep dive into the books to see where the costs are going. There needs to be a deep dive into the internal controls of the village to understand, what are the policies, what are the procedures. So those first 90 days are exploratory.
Basically, just trying to find out.
We have to understand what's going on to actually be a mover. We have, thank you, but 5 minutes? They're telling me we have 5 minutes to wrap it up. So, with that being said, I'm going to ask you about 2 more questions that I think are really, so your opinion, what are the 3, matter of fact, for 5 minutes sake, I'll give you 2. What are the 2 most critical issues that we must fix immediately to move Hempstead forward? Your opinion. I can give you 3.
Oh, great.
And I don't even think this is more opinion. I think this is actual fact. It's economic development, it is taxes, and it is crime.
Oh, yeah.
We need a safer environment. We need to grow our economic base to help lower the taxes from our homeowners, and grow the tax base because our expense load, $46 million in debt. That doesn't include, by the way, the pension obligations and healthcare obligations going forward. So realistically speaking, our key is to grow that economic base so that we can drive and bring home the services, whether it be policing, whether it be the park and rec system, whether it be investing in our children. Keep in mind that we're in Nassau County, right? And obviously the position I'm running for has nothing to do with the school district. But every dollar of economic expansion in the village, roughly 45 to 50 cents of every dollar goes to the school district. So growing the economic base also benefits the school district.
And we definitely want to benefit the children because that's who we're working for. That's who we're working to make better. I mean,
Absolutely.
You and I, we're grown, and it would be great for our lives to be enhanced. But we're working to make sure that generations to come thrive in this village. Now, you talked about crime, and obviously that is a key focal point for many people. We know that we have a crime system in Hempstead that is out of control. What are your thoughts on that, and how would you try to combat that?
You gotta give opportunity. People don't hustle just to hustle, right? People are hustling to try to make ends meet.
Absolutely.
Right, and it's a vicious cycle here in the village where we're not taking care of the young that are there, right? So whatever happens to them, if they go away, they come back and they're right back in the village again.
A cycle.
It's a cycle. But at the same time, what are we doing when they're here? What are we showing them? What opportunities are we providing? Take, for instance, right? There are 196 zombie homes in the village, meaning we don't know who the owner of the house is. They're just literally sitting there with raccoons and all kinds of stuff living inside of it.
My viewers are familiar with that. They call those squatter houses.
Squatter houses, zombie home squatter houses. Every year, the village still assesses taxes to those houses.
Even though no
one's there. Then, since no one pays the tax, they sell that receivable, that tax lien, to an investor. And the investor will hold it, he charges a high interest rate on it, and then eventually he'll foreclose on it and take the house. Meanwhile, we've got an apprenticeship program for carpentry, and woodworking, and plumbing, all the trades in the high school that just started. We've got another group over on 175 Fulton. Why is the village selling those tax liens? Why don't they hold those tax liens, foreclose on those houses, get control of those houses, employ these young guys to fix these houses and put those homes back up into the village? That to me is common sense.
Common sense ain't always so common.
Common sense is not always so common. I like that.
Yeah, some people would sleep when common sense was being passed out. Jesus was like, no, just let him sleep, baby. I was like, all right. But wrapping things up, because we definitely have to wrap up. What would you like to close and say? Speak directly to the people.
I tell everybody right now it's extremely important time. We cannot sit stagnant anymore. We need to move forward. We need to come together. We need to move this village forward. It's Hempstead first. It's Hempstead forward. It's Hempstead now. You can check us on our website, jeffrydaniels.com. Jeffrey is spelled Jeffery, because my mother wanted to be different and special. So it's not R-E-Y, it's Jeffery, Daniels.com. Check us out, and don't forget to vote March 20th, right? Row B, Hempstead now, to move things forward. It's critical, the time is now.
Well, your mom is obviously a very smart woman because she knew that you would be a different and special child. It was so great sitting having an interview. It didn't even feel like an interview, it felt like a conversation. It was informative. On my Booze and Bays, please make sure, and everybody, please make sure you check him out. There will be, it'll be up on my site and his site as well. We thank everyone for tuning in. And one last question. This is, gotta end on a high note. If asked, would you be willing to have a verbal debate with your opponent who are running?
I wish somebody would come and sit and want to talk about the issues.
I wish they would.
I wish they would come and want to sit and talk about the issues. Any and all people, right? Because if you come with a vision, come with a plan.
Absolutely.
Okay? Come with a vision, because vision with no strategy is an illusion.
Ooh, say that one more time for the people.
Vision with no strategy is an illusion.
Tweet that. Vision with no strategy, illusion. I thank you for meeting with me.
It was a pleasure.
It was such a pleasure. I look forward to your campaign. Make sure, guys, that you are voting on March 20th. Come out for the elections and keep him in the forefront. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great night.